Learning Shop at Crowley ISD. This is our podcast, and we're so excited to really elevate the conversation around leadership. So far, we've had some awesome guests, and today we have another leader who discovered his purpose while attending a New York Yankees game. I know we're in Rangers country, but he was in New York and he's found his purpose. We hope that as you're listening to this podcast, you begin to uncover your purpose as well. I'm so excited to introduce y'all to a leader who's been named one of the top 40 under 40. He's a national trial lawyer. Yeah, take this down. Get this. He's a national trial lawyer, a top attorney by the Fort Worth Magazine, and he was named the 2023 Young Professional of the Year by the Fort Worth Chamber. Not only is he a lawyer, but he's also a podcast host, and his podcast is called Take This Down. Make sure you go and check it out. It's an awesome experience, awesome conversations. He's also a proud brother of the Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. And what we share in common is that he is a Baylor football alumni, a proud husband, a dad, and my friend. Please join me and welcome Brother Ty Stimson to the Learning Shop in Crowley ISD. Thank you so much for joining us today, brother.
Thank you. I need to let you do all my introductions.
I got you. All right. So, man, Ty, we definitely, again, appreciate you being here. And you know how it is. Your dad was a barber, and my dad was a barber. So we know that in the barbershop, you get a lot of things going. You got a lot of experiences. But the main thing you do is you go in there and you get a fresh cut. Right. And you leave with a fresh perspective on life.
100%.
And so with this leadership podcast, our goal is really to elevate the conversation around leaders and leadership, and to show that leaders come in all different sizes, all different shapes, with all different perspectives, and that anyone can really be a leader. And so let's start off this segment with our fresh leadership advice in 60 seconds.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read a statement. You're going to complete the statement.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Fresh leadership advice. As a leader, if you don't plan for change, then
you'll never grow as a leader.
Wow. Leadership is about growth, man. Good stuff. Getting advice from other leaders can
help you become a better leader.
Yes, sir. Age should not
stop you from being a leader.
Awesome. A difficult start on your journey can
help mold you as a leader.
Awesome. Leading in the unknown can teach you to
lean on your upbringing, but also on your core values.
Yeah. Core values and leadership, man, those things are connected, right?
100%.
Awesome. One key aspect of effective leadership is the ability to
effectively listen.
All right. A leader who goes the wrong way can
lose the people he or she is leading.
Yeah, no doubt. You going somewhere, nobody's following you, you just walking, right?
Right.
All right. Outstanding. Leadership is not about control, it's about
that's a good one. Guidance.
All right. You learn from your failures that
mold you into the person that you are.
Awesome. You learn from your success that
you failed beforehand. Before you achieve that success.
Absolutely, man. It's that's one thing when we talk about leadership. Thank you for that advice, man. I want to just kind of talk about that, a little bit more, because oftentimes when we talk about leadership and we talk about leaders, we see leaders who've been successful and we celebrate the success, but we disconnect the success from failure.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I think, no one wants to glorify or talk about the failures or struggles along the way to achieving the success, but that makes up probably 90% of the success. I think in order to, maybe have a better perspective of not only life, but leadership, but its success, you have to appreciate all the failures or the setbacks that you went through.
Absolutely. You got to welcome them, man, and learn from them, man. That's good stuff. So I know, we talked about in your introduction, a couple of things that you've done and been a part of. And one of the things is, I know you attended Baylor, right? And so during your time at Baylor, I know athletics was really, really key to you, and you had plans of playing football and a career in football. But later, you found an interest in studying law while being at a New York Yankees game. How did that happen? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was never the biggest, fastest, strongest, and I knew football really wasn't a future for me.
Right.
But I had an opportunity going into my last year to intern at Liz Claiborne in New York.
Okay.
And I'll never forget, an email went out that says I got free tickets to the Yankees, first one to my office. So I ran to the gentleman's office, who ended up being one of the deputy general counsels for the for Liz Claiborne
Uh-huh.
and asked him how he got the tickets. And he said, "Oh, I used to be an attorney for the Yankees." And I asked him, "Well, how'd you do that?" And he's, "Well, I went to law school," and he just kind of talked me through.
Right.
And so I'll never forget, I called my mom, who's always been loving and supporting. I said, "Hey, I want to go to law school." So she overnighted me some law books from Barnes and Noble.
Wow.
And so I deterred my whole plans for finance and
Yeah.
decided to go to law school because I thought I could go work for the Yankees.
Oh, awesome, man. Awesome, man. It's crazy how things happen in our life, like that change our life. And sometimes we don't know that is changing our life until after we look back, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, and I was gonna say, just the whole experience of being in New York. And my friends have known me for over 20 plus years to tell you that time changed the way I thought. It changed me as a leader, if you will, because it exposed me to other people, other cultures, being in a different situation. Sometimes we can get comfortable around everything that we know, but stepping out of that comfort zone really allowed me to learn more about myself, but also told me there's a lot more in this life that I want.
Yeah. That's all. So let's talk about so you were an athlete, but that wasn't necessarily that's what you did. That wasn't who you were.
No,
right?
no.
And so you Liz Claiborne, is that a finance company? Or I'm
No,
not sure.
Liz Claiborne used to be one of the biggest fashion companies.
Okay.
A lot of people didn't know at the time, Liz Claiborne, they had DKNY Jeans, they had Kate Spade, Usher, various entities, but Liz Claiborne was a big fashion designer, but I was actually in their finance department interning.
Gotcha. So you were an intern in finance.
Yes. Yeah.
And you had an experience that introduced law to you, right? So talk to me really about change and how being open to change impacted your ability to lead.
I always feel like as we go through life, you have to kind of be open because, we can always have a plan, but I always think about what Mike Tyson said, everyone has a plan till you get hit in the mouth. And sometimes life can hit you in the mouth.
Right.
And I think for me, I was still young. I was still open, even though I knew that, I wanted to go work in finance. I wanted to go ultimately end up in Wall Street. But this concept of law and what it could open up other doors or provide me it sparked my interest. And so the curiosity led me to see if it was a fit.
Yeah.
And, I'm always of the opinion there's no harm with more education. So if I went to law school and I didn't enjoy it, what's the worst than just having a JD?
Yeah, awesome. So did you ever have this idea that you would not be successful? I mean, going to law school, that's a huge challenge, and that's where did you get your confidence from?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say that I probably have an irrational amount of confidence. As my wife tells me, I have too much confidence in stuff. And what I mean by that is I never plan for failure. I never have a backup plan. If I say I'm going to do something, I don't think of contingency plans or backup plans. That I just have that expectation that no, if I'm going to go to law school, I'm going to be successful doing it. And if I'm not, I'll figure it out from there.
Yeah, man, that's good, man. So I want you to just take a second now and we're going to flash back, right? We're going to flash back, and you're having a chance to talk to your 11th grade self, right? And you're trying to explain to your 11th grade self. You got advice you want to give to your 11th grade self. What would you say to your 11th grade self today based on the experiences you've had?
It's okay not to fit in. I would say that I wasn't as probably comfortable standing out or being different. It was caught up in wanting to be amongst the popular kids, and sometimes you conform to your situation rather than being the leader who you're destined to be.
Yeah.
And so I would tell her, say, Ty, you're doing a good job. Just keep doing it and block out the noise.
Yeah, block out the noise, man. That's a good one, man. Talk to me a little bit more about that noise, because what we know is as students are going through high school and really in this society today, there's so much noise. So there's so many distractions that happen. So how do you really navigate that?
Oh, that's a great question. I can only imagine all the different things that our students now have. When I was going through school, AOL was just being introduced.
Absolutely.
So, we didn't have, as much on the social media aspect. But, I think a lot of it is just being comfortable with who you are. One thing sometimes we lose sight of is when we're in high school, we think that there's only certain groups. When you go off to college or you're in intro, there's a group of people or friends that you can identify with and feel a sense of belonging to that you don't, if it's not clicking right now at this stage in your life, just keep holding on. Just stay the course.
Yeah. Awesome. And so, when you think about law, and I can imagine if your experience was similar to mine, like I didn't really see a lot of people that looked like me that were lawyers or that were in, that I can touch, that I knew, that I felt, that I could feel. How did you, or did you have role models that you connected with as you were growing through your experience? And if not, then how did you navigate that?
I knew zero lawyers before I went to law school. It was something that, I would say almost was a setback because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know anything. But as I was in law school, I've had a good mentor. But what led me to one becoming a prosecutor at first is I didn't see anyone that looked like me, that was making impact on my communities. We have people in my community that would touch the criminal justice system, but no one on the other side of the table that were brown or black or or some instance male that could really, I feel like give a fair opportunity to see the whole picture. So it guided me to one want to pursue law, but also go into criminal justice originally.
Yeah, awesome. All right. And so, as a personal injury lawyer at your firm, were there moments that you were afraid to lead?
No, I don't think there's been moments where I was afraid to lead. I think sometimes I'm afraid to fail as a leader, to where I know there's people depending on me. There's people whose livelihood from their families is dependent on the decisions I make, and so I feel like it's a sense of pressure not to let them down, because if I let them down, I'm letting down people's families, and so it's just wanting to be successful, but also the pressure of failing.
Gotcha. All right. So, let's talk a little bit more about pressure and about mental health and really the role that you believe pressure, mental health, and all those things play in really achieving your goals and really leading. So, talk to me a little bit more about that, as you mentioned that.
No, I think a part of leadership is one being in tune with the whole body, and the whole body is not just the physical aspect and the leadership aspect, but it's also what's between the ears and the mental health aspect. And I don't believe you can be an effective leader if you're not in a good headspace, but if you're not taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Burnout's real,
Right.
and I think sometimes as leaders we don't do a good job of listening to our bodies and
Right.
responding accordingly. So I always try to encourage people to have some type of outlet. Find something, if that's for me, that's golf, or if that's working out, or if it's cooking, or maybe even talking to someone, because the weight of the world can get heavy.
Right.
And if you don't have an outlet to let that out, or if you compartmentalize that, your body will slowly start responding accordingly.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. So let's dive a little bit deeper into leadership. And so if you had to kind of define leadership or make leadership, the concept of leadership tangible, how would you define it, and how did it show up in your life?
Oh, I think leadership is being bold, being courageous, and being willing to put yourself out there. Not everyone is gonna welcome you as a leader. Sometimes you're gonna get pushback, or people are gonna be like, "Well, who do you think you are?"
Right.
Trying to be a leader. But
Absolutely.
as my mom always told me, she didn't raise me to be a follower. She raised me to be a leader. And I think
Yeah.
we all can be leaders, but you just have to believe it in yourself.
Yeah. So, I was talking to some students earlier, and we were really having the same concept about leadership and this idea that anybody really can be a leader. And so when you think about your life, think about the three most impactful leaders in your life. And I want you to just kind of talk to me a little bit about them.
Oh, that's going to be my mom is definitely the first person that comes to mind. My mom has always been the rock for me. She has sacrificed and done so much for me to be in the position I am now. So how selfless she was always something that stood out for me. Her leadership. My paternal grandfather
Okay.
was another person who, to me, his nickname was actually Rock.
Okay.
Because he was the rock of our family.
Yeah.
And when you're with him, you just always felt that everything was okay.
Okay.
And I feel like that was probably the biggest trait that I carried from him, to where, often people say that if I'm involved in something, they know things are going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I think, not to play too much in being here in Crowley ISD, but my high school principal, Miss Laura Jones, was a person that I admired from afar, because I had a great relationship with her, and she made me feel like her own son. And the way that, you know, I went to Martin High School, we had almost 1,000 kids there.
Right.
But she had a way of connecting with people, each individual student in a personal way, and how she did it with class, dignity, but also making you feel seen in such a large school. I always admired that.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, man. And you know what's ironic is that you know, society really tell you that leaders are these people that are out front and that are these great speakers and leaders of these large companies or these athletes or all these other people that we put leadership on the pedestal. But the reality is, when I talk to students, they said exactly what you said. When I asked them about leaders, they talked about their mom. They talked about the people that made sacrifices. They talked about the people that they could depend on. They talked about the people that they could trust. And so really, you know, what's been interesting is, I think it's important for us to reclaim what this definition of leadership really is. A leader is a person that makes a sacrifice for someone else. Like, I know Martin Luther King said that anybody can be a leader because everyone can serve, right? And that's what, when we think about leadership and we think about leaders in our lives, you think about people who made sacrifices for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I think being a leader is the most selfless thing that you can do. I should say effective leadership.
Absolutely.
Because we do have leaders who it's more themselves than, you know, the others. And so I think the true servant leadership is probably the most effective leaders that I've been around.
Absolutely. Well, man, I definitely, appreciate this, your information you shared today, man. It's been great. I definitely want to go into more details and continue to talk a little bit, but I want to give you a chance before we wrap to talk about your podcast and tell me what motivated you to start a podcast and elevate the voice in your way.
Oh man, you know, it was a situation to where I felt like, as I've grown a platform, I wanted to share my platform with people who I felt like didn't get their just due or recognition for everything that they're doing for our community.
Right.
And so I sit down and have conversations with individuals who are, one, molding our community, but making our community a better place. It's not a conversation to where you're going to get the aha type moments, but it's truly a getting to know the person behind the name or behind the title, and what gets them to tick, or what motivates them, or who were influential people in their lives. And so, you know, people may know Dr. McFarland, the name, but they never knew you as a person. So having you on the show to, one, learn about your background, but also to share your story is kind of what I wanted to do for individuals to share my platform with.
Awesome, man. Well, you're doing a great job, man. I definitely enjoyed being there with you on that day. Enjoyed talking to you today as well. You know, as I said at the beginning of our podcast, our whole goal is really to elevate the conversation around leadership, to rewrite the narrative, and to understand that we all can be leaders because we all can serve, we all can make sacrifices, we all can be dependable, and we all can change things in our own way, in our own space. As long as we have confidence in ourselves, we can adjust to change and make sure that we can remain who we are. And so, man, thank you, man, for what you've done, and thank you for all the things that you've accomplished. You've accomplished a lot. You're not even 40 yet, right?
No.
That's crazy, man. I'm old. I feel old now, man. But it's good to see, man, and just your spirit and the way you carry yourself, man, and the things you've done. Man, I'm so proud of you. I am just definitely hope that people will see this podcast and they will begin to change the narrative around leadership and to see that all of us can lead, that we all can lead.
Absolutely.
All right. Absolutely. So thank you all for joining us today with the Learning Shop. Again, I am Mike McFarland. This is my brother, attorney Ty Stinson. We also are Baylor grads. Both of us are Baylor alumni. And so we're gonna give you the bear claw here in a second. But again, I want to say I appreciate y'all for logging on. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell so that you'll be able to catch all of our podcasts. We have every other Wednesday we'll be dropping new episodes. We're talking about leadership. We're rewriting the narrative. We want you to understand that leadership can be found in any place, in anyone. All you have to do is be willing to make the sacrifice. Thank you all, and let's sick 'em bears. Hey,
sick 'em bears.
See y'all later.